Welcome back for this installment of our tips and tricks series where we cover all things SOLIDWORKS, or in this case, SOLIDWORKS PDM. Want to see more? Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for fresh topics. One way PDM brings order to your product data chaos is by tailoring the user experience to each role so that users can see and do everything they need in their Vault view and nothing that they don't. But your team is fluid and needs change, so there are a few best practices every PDM admin should follow to make upkeep quick and simple. We'll cover PDM users and groups administration, including pro tips on adding users, managing existing ones, plus deleting and restoring users in the most efficient way possible to save you time now and avoid extra work for admins or IT in the future. Let's dive in. A brand new PDM Vault will contain no groups and one user, the system administrator, under the Users and Groups node. We can right-click groups to create a new group or users to create a new user. Best practice, create your groups first and users later. That way users can be added to existing groups upon creation and inherit those settings. We can actually see which settings are inherited and from which group. Changes to the group will automatically update user settings for all its group members to spare you from doing that user by user. Start with an all users group and check the add new users automatically to this group box. Provide this group with minimum base level permissions to manage what they can see, what they can do, and all kinds of PDM behaviors that control the user experience. Now, new groups can be created with all users selected from the copy from group drop list. So the base level permissions will be pre-populated. A few alterations to expand permissions and your work is done. When we add a user, permissions and settings, including group membership, can be copied from an existing user, or we can start fresh with no settings applied. After entering some user info, we can adjust group memberships, permissions, in this case removing the copied administrative permissions and settings. Some PDM admins aren't close enough to the action to manage team dynamics in PDM. Fortunately, we can delegate permissions to another user so they can administrate users, administrate templates, and even assign group memberships so the groups to which users belong change depending on which folder they are in. An indication that a user was created and added to a group later is this solid blue box. This means the box is neither checked nor unchecked because the group setting doesn't match the user. If the group properties are reset, those changes will then propagate to the user. Anyone with can administrate users permission can perform a right-click delete operation on another user, removing them from the vault and sending them to a sort of recycle bin called deleted users. Before deleting a user, get their files checked in, remove them from all groups and notifications, and delete their email address from their user properties. This is because deleting a user from the vault doesn't remove them from the database. It just marks them inactive, leaving their email intact. When their email address is finally retired, any SMTP notifications headed their way will fail if it wasn't first removed in PDM. This can bring the message system down. Do your deleted users still have email addresses? If they do, no worries, they can be restored. Just right-click the users node and choose deleted users, check restore, close the window, and save changes. Clear their email address and delete again if necessary. If you have a sizable phantom email backlog, this method could be time-consuming. Fortunately, we can clear them from the database directly in one operation using the SQL statement provided here. Warning: SQL statement should only be executed by a qualified database administrator and only after a fresh database backup has been created. An alternative to deleting a user is to just refuse login. While this is enabled, no one can log into the vault as that user, so they cannot consume a license and it's easily reversed. Bonus tip: many of these onboarding and offboarding operations can also be automated using Active Directory Sync and automated Windows login. Let us know if you'd like to learn more. Don't miss the next installment. Like and subscribe now, and if you have ideas for future topics, please share them in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.